Hi, my name is Anastasia Peltz, and I'm a speech and language pathologist in the Dearborn Public Schools. I'm here to give you some simple tips and strategies to enhance your child's language skills over the summer. I have a book here, and I want to first talk about the importance of not only having your child read to you, but the importance of you also reading to your child. So this is just a basic book. Now the goals that I'm working on for this book, two main goals. The first goal is to increase their comprehension of information by asking questions: who, what, where, when. The second part is when they answer those questions, I want them to use a complete sentence when they're answering these questions. So, for example, let's look at one of the pages in the book. And like I said, this can be used with any book that you have for lower elementary school kids. So here you have a frog. He's in bed, pointing out the window. First, I would read the text to the child, or I would have the child read the text to me. If you asked a what question, like what is the frog doing? Let's say the child responds by saying pointing. So you could say, the frog is pointing. What is the frog doing? The child will say, the frog is pointing. Or let's make that a little more complex. What is the frog doing? The frog is pointing out the window. Ooh, that's a long sentence. But if your child is able to do it, we want them to create the longest sentence string that they're able to do. Next, you can ask them questions about what is happening outside of the window. They might say snowing. Well, you know what to do. What are you going to do? You're going to have them expand it. You may even first want to say to them, was that a complete sentence? Because some children just aren't thinking about their strategy and using a complete sentence. So, if they're able to do it with that little model, great, move on. If not, if you say what's happening outside the window and they say snowing and they need that verbal model, then you can say, it is snowing. What is it doing? It is snowing. Or make it longer. After you talk about the snowing, and as you go on through the book, the frog's really excited to go outside. And he starts talking about some of the items that he needs and clothing to go outside with. So, perfect opportunity. Let's work on categories. So you can say to the child, it's snowing outside. Well, first of all, what season is it if it's snowing outside? Hopefully they'll say winter. Then you can say, work on that categorization. So if it's winter, what's it like outside? Once again, we want a complete sentence in that response. Then you can go a little bit further. What items do you need to wear when it's cold outside? And why do you need to wear those items? So as you can see, the frog is going outside. Right now he has a scarf on. When the book is completed, then you can also work on recalling the information. So what happened first in the story? What happened next in the story? What happened last in the story? How do you think the frog felt at the end of the story? You can also work on pronouns when you're working on the story. So if you're looking at this frog, you can say, do you think the frog's a boy or a girl? Let's say they say, it's a boy. Okay, so should we use he or she to complete our sentence? Then if they say he, then you continue on with that verbal model to complete the rest of the sentence. These strategies can also be used with the upper elementary school kids. What you do for that is you have them read a story, have them read a paragraph, have them read one page, depending on their level. And sometimes you may even have to have them read it twice to fully understand the information. And that's okay. That's a good strategy to use. Then ask them specific questions. What are the main characters in the story? What was the plot of the story? What happened first? What happened next? What happened last in the story? What would you do if you were in that scenario? You may have to at times break down the information. So if they can't read a full page, what are you going to do? Break it down. Go into 3 paragraphs, go into 2 paragraphs, maybe even 1 paragraph. So by doing that, it's increasing their comprehension skills because you're breaking the information down to their level. Eventually, they'll be able to get to the full page or the full story. The other thing is while they're reading, if they come across a word that they don't know, what should they do? Why not write down the word? You can have them look up the word, you can talk about the word, and you can have them use the word in a sentence so they have better understanding and they're increasing their vocabulary. So now we're going to move on to using some of these strategies to just a basic game. So here I have a matching game. But many games can be used, not just the matching game, But this is an easy game that you can easily purchase at local stores if you don't already have it at home. So the object of this game is to find two pictures that are the same, that go together. So if a child is playing with another child, they're probably just going to play the game for matching. But you can increase your child's language skills, both their auditory comprehension, what they understand, and their verbal expression, their verbal skills, by some simple things. And just like we already discussed. So I have a card here. The child turns it over. It's the picture of a dog driving a car, wearing a white hat. So let's use our language skills that we've learned. What is the dog doing? Where is the dog going? What is he wearing on his head? What would happen if you're wearing a hat on your head and you're driving in a convertible? Do you know what a convertible is? So those are all questions you can ask the child. Once again, if they give you a one-word response, you know what to do. You're going to expand that sentence till we get a complete sentence or at the child's level. The other thing you can do is have them make up a sentence. So when they turn it over, they can make up a sentence about what's going on in the picture. They may need that verbal model from you again, and then you may need to expand their sentence. The next thing I'm going to show you, it's a lot of fun. It's a vocabulary game. And this vocabulary game is an easy activity you can do at home. I have a pillowcase here, as you can see. Or you could also just use a basic bag. So each child that's participating, you will give them a bag or a pillowcase. So I'm going to use the pillowcase. Inside my pillowcase, I have some basic household items. I have a calculator, I have a ball, and somewhere in here, I have toothpaste. So all basic items that you may have around your house. So the child or the children that are playing, they're not going to know what you have in your bag. You're going to use adjectives or descriptive words to describe what is in your bag. You're once again providing that verbal model of what you expect them to do. You need to remind the child, and for you to do it yourself, to use at least 3 to 5 descriptive words before they guess. So for example, I could say, I have an object. It's made out of rubber. It bounces, you can throw it, you can kick it. What do you think it is? Of course, it's a ball, because we already knew that, right? So now, when it's the child's turn, they're going to do the same thing. And remember, they may need that verbal model. If they're unable to come up with words, then what you can do, or other children that are playing can do, ask them questions. You know how to do that. So what does it do? Where might you see it? The other thing you have to focus on is a lot of times children, let's say you have a picture of a butterfly. It's hard for them to think outside of the box. It's hard for many people to think outside of the box at times. So if you have a butterfly and they say it's blue, well, knowing that a butterfly is blue, is that really going to help you understand what is in their bag? So teach them to say it's many beautiful colors. It can fly. So other examples to help describe a butterfly. The next thing is, I know many of you who might be at home this summer and you need something to do. So what better thing to do than work on your language skills, right? So if you have a young child, take their favorite doll or stuffed animal, hand it to them, and we're going to play a directions game or a preposition game. Now for those of you that don't know what a preposition is, it's like on, in, under, over. We're going to incorporate that into directions. So if I said, put the horse under the chair, put the horse on the table, put the horse behind you. Then you can also turn it around into an expressive language activity. Remember, expressive language is how you verbally talk and express yourself. So you can say, where is the horse? The horse is behind you, or the horse is behind your back, or the horse is behind my back. Remember, you know what to do. If they give you one word, you're going to make a complete sentence out of it. The next thing you can do, simple activities for the car, because I'm sure many of you will be traveling this summer. So kind of push aside the iPad. I'm going to go into some activities later that are helpful on the iPad, but it's really important to engage your child in activities. So in the car, you can play a basic ABC game. Some of you may have even played this before, and you won't even realize you're increasing your child's language skills. You start out with the letter A. So let's say you start with the A, and a child sees an apple orchard, or a sign for an apple orchard, or a sign for Annapolis Street. What letter does that start with? The letter A. Okay, we're done with A. Let's move on to the letter B. So, what would B be? Like a blue car? Oh, I just saw that go by. Or somebody on a bike? So that would be the letter B. Then you would go through the rest of the alphabet. Just wait till you play the game. It can be kind of challenging, even for adults. The next thing that you can do kind of goes back to our vocabulary game with the pillowcase and the bag, the describing game. What you're going to do is an I Spy game, another game you may have played before in the past. So what you do is I spy something that is blue, green, large, tall, using those descriptive words, remember, 3 or 5 words, and then you have to guess what is being described. Another thing, if you're at home, maybe on a rainy day, pull out a board game, any board game, Candyland, anything. And before they take a turn, give them a word. They need to give you the opposite of that word. So if you say in, what are they going to say? Out. So, and then when it's their turn, they'll do the same thing. It's also at times, especially for some children, to use visuals. Visuals are important because they help engage the child in the activity and give them direction for their language. So at just a dollar store or any local store, sometimes you can pick up cards and they have actions in them, or prepositions like in, out, over, under. So in this picture, before they take the turn and roll the dice, you could say, what is the man doing? Once again, I don't have to tell you. You know what to do. You can expand their expression. Even if they say, he is painting, how can we make that a stronger sentence? You can say, he is painting the door green. There's many different opportunities you can do to increase the child's language. Lastly, I have some activities just for the basic iPad. Here are some apps that you can use. There's a couple different apps on this slide that you can go through at your leisure. They have different language activities that I really enjoy working with when I work with children in the schools. So you may enjoy them as well. Just keep in mind that some of them have free apps, but then other ones you may have to pay for. So I hope you've enjoyed this basic introduction to some language skills that you can do over the summer. I hope that you have a wonderful summer, and I hope that you remember, it's always important to have your child use a full sentence when speaking and making sure they comprehend the information, you have them repeat information, and you repeat information to make sure everything that you say is clear. Hope you have a wonderful summer, and we'll see you in the fall.